Preparing to deliver this speech as a 35-minute keynote to HSBC Toastmasters tomorrow. So I wanted to just practice this speech again today a little bit for you so I can get comfortable delivering it, and also I want to share with you some new content that I've added to the presentation. So in today's talk, I'll be talking about what causes overwhelm due to too many tasks and not being on track with your tasks, and how using an external brain, which I'll tell you what that is too, that can be a solution to the overwhelm. I'll give some definitions of what is a task and what is a project. I'll talk about two different kinds of action lists, the next action list and the project actions list. And if I have time, I'll give a demo of Microsoft To Do. This picture is a frog working at my desk 10 years ago. I took it for a photography class, but at the time I was going through quite a bit of overwhelm in my life. I was using a piece of paper to manage all my work tasks, and I had this little notebook that I would copy all of the things I had to do onto one or two pages, and as I finished them, I would check them off and then have to copy all the things that are not finished yet to the next page. And it was a very inefficient system. I was usually spending around an hour a day trying to manage my to-do list on the piece of paper, and it was very overwhelming. David Kekich, who is a brain researcher, says that anxiety is caused by a lack of control, preparation, and action. And this is something that if you have better control, better preparation, organization, and action, that anxiety can just melt away, and you can find that you have a sense of flow state with your work that is very wonderful to feel. Like you don't have to worry about what's coming up or what you just did. You can be focused on the present. What I'd like to talk about for relieving that stress and that overwhelm is to use an external brain. And when I was taking a picture of that frog, I was using a piece of paper as my external brain. But being a technology worker and a programmer, I found a much more efficient system, which I will share with you, called Microsoft To Do, which will augment my mental abilities and allow me to offload all those stressful to-do list items that are very difficult to manage in your brain into an external brain, such as a to-do list system. Why do we need to trust that external brain? I feel like we have to trust that external brain as much as we trust our own brain, because if we don't trust it, that sense of anxiety will not be released from your brain. So to have proper security, backups, and reliability of your whatever system you're using, whether it's a piece of paper, make sure you don't lose it and it's somewhere that you know you'll find, or if it's an online system, to use a proper backup method to always back up your to-do list at least once a month so you don't lose all your external brain items. Now, some definitions. What is a task? I like to define a task as a specific action that can be taken. In the example of this person in the picture, their task is to hang from a rope from the ceiling and type on their computer some emails. That may be your action as well. Maybe you may feel like you're hanging from a rope and Mission Impossible every day trying to solve your email problems. Now next, the definition of what is a project. I define a project as being any goal or outcome that you want to achieve that takes more than one task to complete. So this can be anything from writing a speech where you have several steps, such as researching your topic and writing your speech, organizing it, and then delivering it, to something really big like a career change or going back to school. These can all be projects that require organization. We can think about action management, that is management of tasks and projects, in two different dimensions, the vertical dimension and the horizontal. The vertical is everything within a single project. If my project is to buy a new home, which is an amazing thing to do if you have the chance, I have many different tasks that I need to do regarding that home purchase. But I don't want to just think about that one project only. I want to think across all of my projects. So that means I need to think horizontally as well between and across all my projects. Within a project, within a vertical project, I like to think of a 5-step process to managing all those tasks and actions in your project. These are defining your purpose and principle. What is the project about and what's the purpose of it? What is the desired outcome of the project? The next step would be to brainstorm all the possible actions that need to be done for this project, and then organizing those actions into a structure that makes sense for you. And then finally, identifying what is the next action that you can actually take to move that project forward. These 5 steps are part of Getting Things Done process, which is a wonderful book by David Allen. Within the horizontal action management, that's across your projects, I think another 5-step process is really useful here. This is to collect all those possible items. It doesn't matter which project they're in or if they're just individual tasks. Collect them all somewhere and then clarify each one. What does it mean? Is it something that you can delegate? Is it something that you need to do yourself? Is it just useless, non-actionable information? Or is it important reference information that can be attached to a different task or project? Once you have all these items and you've clarified them, now you can organize them into projects, you can organize them into structures, and find a logical system to organize all those tasks. And then do a regular review of these tasks on a weekly basis or even a daily basis. And finally, pick one of those things to do at the current moment. I like to think about both the vertical and the horizontal action management as being falling under 2 different kinds of lists. The project actions list lists all the actions for that project. I like to have them organized in a logical order once you've done the organizational stage and have a list of task names and task notes. For the horizontal management, I like to see all my tasks across my projects organized by date. And Microsoft To Do provides support for both of these kinds of action lists. The project actions list, as I mentioned, is all the items relating to that project. For my real estate project, I've got all the items here for the real estate purchase I'm going to be making. And that's something that I like to focus on what is needed for that project only. But across all the projects horizontally, I like to view it by date. And I like to think about what is the date I'd like to think about that action next, to do that task. Not to necessarily do that task on that date, but just think about it at that future date. So if I don't have to worry about my mom's birthday until 6 months from now, I can put buy mom's birthday present and I can set the date 6 months from now and it will pop up at that time, provided I review my task list every day, allowing me to notice or pay attention to that item in the future. I'd like to now give a quick demo of Microsoft To Do. This is a very powerful application for managing both the horizontal and the vertical action lists. And I'll just drag my window over to the Microsoft To Do and set this up. Microsoft To Do is a free application that comes with, you can get on the Microsoft Store on Windows. It also is available on Mac, iOS, and Android. And it is allowed, you can use your personal Microsoft account or the SAP Microsoft account. I would like to create a new list for managing a new project. My project is to adopt a dog from Thailand. So it's very exciting. Adopt dog. And the first step would be to arrange the home study with the agency. They need to make sure that our home is safe for a dog to live. The next step would be to pick up dog from airport. I also need to get dog food on the way home. And I want to get a dog bed as well, because we need a place for the dog to sleep in. Okay, so let's put some dates on these items. The home study is something I want to do first, so I'm going to say pick a date. I want to do that tomorrow. And I think it's a good idea to have the dog bed and the dog food before we pick up the dog. So let's say I'll pick up the dog on the 6th. So I'll set the dog bed and dog food to be done a week from now. Save that. And then pick up from the airport. That will happen on the 6th. So let's set the date for the 6th. I also want to get some groceries. So let's say I want to pick up some milk. I want to get that tomorrow, and I'll get some bread tomorrow as well. Okay, so I've done my vertical action management through looking at the individual action project lists. And now I want to see all the actions horizontally. So that's where I click on the planned list, which now shows all the actions across the projects organized by date. And you can see that tomorrow I have 3 things on my to-do list. I've got to arrange the home study, pick up the bread and the milk, and later this month I'll get the dog bed, the dog food, and even pick up the dog from the airport. So you can see how Microsoft To Do provides a way to manage your tasks both horizontally across projects using the plan view and vertically using the action lists that you can create. So I'd like to open it up for a 1-minute Q&A session. Does anyone have any questions about Microsoft To Do or the theories that I presented today? And please just go ahead and speak on the mic.
I don't have a question, but I think if we don't know you from SAP, we would thought that you are a salesperson for Microsoft To Do, because you did such a wonderful presentation. I want to use Microsoft To Do now.
Wonderful. Thank you. I have investigated many different tools, and I've used probably around 5 or 6 different to-do list systems over the past 10 years. And I must say that Microsoft To Do is my most favorite software that I've ever used. And it's something that I think I can really trust because Microsoft has a really good uptime record. I used some other systems which were great, but they often went down and I couldn't access my to-do list. So definitely Microsoft To Do, I think I really believe in the technology behind it. It's also integrated with Outlook, so you can back up your tasks through Outlook using the export feature. Definitely seems to be my favorite to-do list system right now. And so definitely if I was not working at SAP, I'd probably like to work on Microsoft To Do for Microsoft. That's kind of my second career that I could take because I'm just a passionate user of that product and even have submitted some feature requests to them in the past. But thanks, Jim, for the comment. Any other questions
for you?
Yeah, go ahead, Ricky.
I don't know, Susan. Do you have time? How do you feel that for you yourself applying and starting up with a new piece of software, sometimes it's hard to stay engaged? For example, with me, I picked up a lot of ones throughout the years like Notion, Google Keep, and all these other ones, but none of them seem to stick, and I don't see myself like actively using it throughout the whole entire time. Do you have any tips or tricks to ensure that process is a little bit easier and then make sure that I don't fall off halfway through into the deep end? Yeah,
thanks, Ricky. So just to rephrase the question, it's a good idea to start using a tool, but how do we continue keeping it as part of our daily workflow? I think with getting things done or using the action management, if you don't have a complete picture of all your tasks in your head or on your desk in the system, then the system becomes less attractive to use because you're not always relying on it as like the source of truth for your daily tasks. So I think to keep it up to date by regularly reviewing it, I often review my task list a couple times during the day. And if I ever think of something I need to do, no matter how small it is, I like to add it in the list right away. I can use the mobile app. If I think of something on the go, I would just jot it down on my phone and it automatically syncs with the to-do list system. So wherever I am, I always am adding tasks to both my personal account and my work account so that I really have the system as the source of truth of my to-do list. And I don't have to start relying on other ways, like trying to remember, like, what am I supposed to do today? I just look in the system and I can trust it to know that it has all the information, even the most insignificant tasks like vacuuming the home or doing the laundry. I have it all in there. So I can just fully kind of trust it that it can be my system. But I think another thing that you can think about is regularly spending the time to review your system and keep it up to date, current, and checking off things that are done and adding things you need to do. That review process, I think it's a good idea to set up a regular habit for that and maybe set aside an hour on a Friday to just review your whole system and make sure you keep it up to date, because if it becomes out of date, then it can get really hard to get back on the bandwagon and start using it again. So to kind of keep up reviewing it every week can be a useful way to keep into the system. Thanks. Great. Well, thanks for everyone for your great questions and for attending my talk today. I look forward to chatting with you more about it, and I look forward to the rest of the meeting. I'll turn it back to our chair, Suzanne.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Geoff, for your prepared speech.